afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on folks. It's your man, always George Page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk, coming to you live on YouTube. Well, folks, it's Thursday. Yay! We're just maybe another day or so from the start of the weekend. Friday is around the corner, and as you know, today
Yay.
is the start of the Tampa Bay Pro. I think they just started the women's, pretty much all the master divisions, women's physique, bodybuilding, the divisions I pay attention to. And tomorrow we'll have women's bodybuilding and physique, Olympia qualifiers. And then on Saturday, they're going to finish up with men's open and also figure. But we have here a lovely lady, and she competed about a couple of weeks ago at the Chicago Pro. And she is from Canada. Oh, Canada, my home sweet Canada. Well, it's funny, as Americans, we know that song. But also, one thing is being me, as I say my quote from my man, Jerome, I am an international player from the Himalayas. That's my man Jerome Rome. He's always been the international player. So we welcome the lovely Mrs. Sarah Bowe, and we'd like to thank you for your time.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much for the invitation.
You're welcome. You're welcome, guest. So this is the first question I'm gonna ask you. Especially as a lady, what got you started in sport? As I call it, muscle and masculinity. Please share.
It was something I honestly kind of just stumbled into. Played sports as a kid and, then going to university, kind of once you pass 18, there's not a lot of like team sports kind of things available. So I joined a gym in my city, like when I was in university, just to stay healthy, to stay active and stay fit. And I really enjoyed like the group fitness classes and things like that and the community around that. And then, once you kind of do those for a while, you kind of, reach a limit of what you can kind of achieve in those types of weightlifting situations. And so ventured out into the weight room of the rest of the gym, and then just kind of fell in love with lifting heavy weights and really enjoyed it. And then mutual friend said, it's like, have you ever thought about bodybuilding? Because like you lift weights all the time, and you're building a really nice looking physique. Have you ever thought about it? And I was just like, no, no, not really. And they're like, you should give it a go. And so introduced me to someone who ended up being my coach for the first 11 years of my bodybuilding career. And I tried it once just to be like, well, let's give it a go. It seemed like an interesting sport. I didn't know a lot about it. I thought it might be a fun new challenge to try. And I just fell in love with it. I loved the process of it. I loved, that my body was kind of now my own little science experiment, and kind of learning the process of how you could, change your physique and change, your muscle growth and your energy just by changing the way you trained or the way you ate and things like that. And it was just very interesting to me. And I just got the taste of it and just kept going, kept going, kept going. And here we are, 13, almost 14 years later.
So you became your own mad scientist with your body,
Yeah.
taking it and you go to the gym and using like the barbells and dumbbells as beakers and putting stuff together. That's the thing about quite a few ladies who got into sport was because of athletic background. Because myself, I grew up doing team sports. I played football, played baseball a little bit as a kid, and then when you get into the real world, it's just it's hard to find something to keep you active. It happens like with me. I'm like, I look like Frosty the Black Snowman. But yeah, it's, bodybuilding is a sport that I think when people look at it from the outside, it's very extreme.
Very that. Yeah, very that. And that was definitely, I don't want to say it was a challenge or a barrier, but it was definitely something that having to kind of, explain, I would say, to a lot of people over the years, in that, because it does seem very extreme to people who are maybe on the outside of the sport, or just are, are not as knowledgeable about what bodybuilding really is and what's really, the draw of the sport and why we do why we do it. And I think I enjoyed having that opportunity to then be able to educate people on what bodybuilding really is. And I'm like, yes, it is extreme. There are some real high highs and some real low lows, through the whole process of it. But it's explaining like why people do it. Because I think, athletes, no matter what your division is, male, female, from, bikini to classic or anything like that, is that we all have our own personal reasons to do it. But I think at the end of the day, we all enjoy challenges, we all being able to, you know, push ourselves to achieve new levels of challenge and to overcome things that maybe we didn't think we could previously do. And by, really digging deep and challenging ourselves, being like, oh, I really can do that. Oh, I can accomplish that. And I think we get a lot of satisfaction out of those types of challenges. And bodybuilding is one of those very unique sports that's kind of the encompassing part of bodybuilding, is a challenging an individual to overcome, hurdles or challenges, whatever they happen to be for you as the athlete, as you go through a prep from year to year. And so I've found that part to be very, very rewarding, independent of, placings or like winning shows or whatever. It's being able to kind of overcome these different types of challenges, whether it's a physical challenge, an emotional challenge, or, any of those types of things.
Because there's so many aspects to it. But every person will look at it and says, you just gotta pop some special pills and you get out big and ripped. You be like Arnold, today is Mr. Schwarzenegger's birthday. Arnold, I used to watch his movies like another Truman and all. But one thing I'm not a big fan of is his politics when it comes to certain divisions. As you know, he does not have, other than the amateur shows, he only doesn't have women's bodybuilding, physique, or figure at his
Yeah.
main show, which is all a classic.
Yeah.
To me, it feel like it's the quote from one of my favorite movies, Batman Begins, when Ra's al Ghul is talking to Bruce Wayne and says, "To take care of an enemy, you walk quietly behind them and stab them in the heart." And and y'all women, y'all put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. You have to be consistent, disciplined, persistent. I mean, most people don't have that, and that's why I think, like when I post stuff, especially with female bodybuilders, guys always saying, "Yeah, she's taking steroids," and all that. But the thing is, that's only a small factor. If you're not
Hmm.
enrichment on your training, your diet, your recovery, your rest, you're not going to look like some of these men and women who do compete.
Yeah, it's very that. I mean, sure, it's something that every bodybuilder or competitive athlete has come across. At some point, it's like steroids doesn't do the work for you. Like we still have to do the training. You still have to follow the diet. You still have to do the cardio, all the recovery. The body work. All that kind of stuff. The work still needs to get done. Um, and you made a good point about some of these shows that don't include some of the female categories, like the women's bodybuilding and women's physique. And I definitely see that up here in Canada, because for a long time we only have two pro shows here in Canada. There's the Toronto Pro and there's the Vancouver Pro Am, and the Vancouver doesn't have women's physique. So the Toronto Pro, it was the only Canadian show that I was ever able to do for the longest time. Now there's a Van Isle showdown, which is quite early in the season, but now it's only been around a couple of years. But they include women's physique and bodybuilding now. So I was like, yay, okay, we
Well,
got another one.
I have to correct you on that. The Van Al this year has dropped women's physique,
This,
women's bodybuilding, and wellness from the pro lineup. It's just a now
yeah,
regional show for amateurs. It
yeah,
was
they changed this year.
And I remember the Vancouver Pro did have women's physique and had figure and fitness, but this year they dropped it. It's going to have bikini other divisions. I
Hmm.
think it's about, some say it's usually about, not enough people want to come see those divisions. But again, you know, how do you measure that? It's by ticket sales, by what people tell you, or you just going by, because, with women's bodybuilding, one problem is that not enough competitors. Because right now at the Television Show Pro, you have at least 13 women in women's bodybuilding, and nearly 20 or more in women's physique. And
Yeah.
figure that is just, I was working on some stuff and I had to go through a lot of names and stuff like that. Wow, it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the Toronto Pro this year, so I compete in both the Open and the Masters. There's always more in the Open than the Masters, but I mean, at Toronto, I mean, there was 17 Masters, there was 12. The Chicago, I believe there was 19. It's either 17 or 19 in the Open. So I mean, there does seem to be the numbers. that would merit having those categories and divisions present in the shows. So, I mean, yeah, there is always generally going to be more in the figure and the wellness and bikini, other categories as well. But if you nix the division altogether, well, then you're guaranteed to have zero. So, you're not even giving us the opportunity to build those numbers for this show or that show or in this region, the other region. So it's kind of like, stopping us in our tracks before we even start a little bit.
Yeah, I remember around about a little after 2014, they were really pushing up with his bodybuilding, even from the Arnold cut it the year before. Then after the last Miss Olympia, they dropped it. Shout out to Jake Woods. Today he's going to be honored Achievement Award of the Year by the Tampa Bay Pro. Shout out to Tim Gardner doing that. I got to meet the gentleman while I was in Tampa last year, and I understand that the reasons why is because of not enough attention, money, whatever else. But then when you bring in other divisions, that one of the divisions I'm now a big fan of is called Fit Model. Excuse me. Hot point. I call it it's a bastard division because you create a division that's going to end up looking like the division that it's supposed to be spinning off from. Like if you look at women's physique now, you were there with Sarah Bradley and
Mm-hmm.
Sarah. I mean,
Yeah,
and you were, I think you were in the top 10 because you got six.
I got fifth.
Fifth, fifth,
I
fifth.
got
Oh yeah.
fifth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was Deanna Perez who got six because I've interviewed Deanna before. We have some people in the comment sections, and my guests. Let me put my old man glasses for a second and their comments. Yeah, shout out to my man Ryan Lake. He says this. Hello, Sarah. How are you doing today? I'm your biggest fan. And when did you start becoming a bodybuilder? Well, she already said it about a little over over 10 years ago.
10 years. Yeah, 2013 was my very first competition. So I started prepping in, 2012, or started training with more intention as a bodybuilder in 2012, and then first competition, first novice level baby baby figure competitor in 2013. Yeah.
Yeah, Figure's been around for quite some time. Next up to my man
Mhm.
here, Black Panther saying, "Hi George, hi Black Panther." He says also, "Hi Miss Bo, where are you originally from?"
I am from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. That's where I'm from, that's where I live, and that's where I've been my whole life.
That's one of my favorite wrestlers back in the day. Chris Jericho's from Manitoba. You
Yes,
know,
he is. Yes, he
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yep.
And you ever you say again? I remember when he used to wrestle WCW. Then he kind of really became a heel when he went over to WWF or what you call it. So one
Hmm.
more here. Shout out to my man Black Panther. He has a good comment here. He says this. Um, yeah, bodybuilding is consistent sport that involves a strict diet, work routine, rest, and recovery. Bodybuilding also involves time and patience. He also says
Hmm.
this. He says, give me a second, he just comes back, He says, women's physique is the greatest. He says something about women's bodybuilding. Which one is the greatest? You got to pick one. Also, shout out to my man Ryan Lake. He says, have you got your pro card? Well, she's been a pro for, there it goes. She's been a pro since 2021,
Right.
and you
Yep.
got your pro
Right
card
there.
at a pro qualifier in Canada.
Yes. Yes. So our Canadian. Oh, there's my cat back there. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, we had cats and dogs come in doing the interviews.
It's my Black Panther. It's my Black Panther.
I should wear my Black Panther shirt, my Thundercat shirt.
Thundercats. There you go.
Oh, hope you make a movie
Yeah.
out of that. I think villain. I mean, you can make. Yeah, He Man just came out. It's time for Thundercats to get their movie.
I think it'll come. I think they'll have their time. I
All right,
think they'll have their time.
but you got your pro card. And what show? When was that?
So this would have been our Canadian nationals. So it would have been, I believe it was October-ish of that 2021. So it's national level, so pro qualifier. So it would have been similar to like the Toronto pro qualifier, right? Same national level. So it's competitors from all over Canada. And I remember I had done my first women's physique show in 2019 at our regional level show here with the Canadian Physique Alliance. That was my first when I switched from figure to women's physique. And then 2020, obviously there was no shows happening in 2020. And then in 2021, I did our regional show again as women's physique, won that one, and then went to nationals later that same year. And then that's right there. That's where I won my pro card.
That's the thing. I mean, you put in that time in your work. You've been competing for quite a long time, and then finally get that
Hmm.
pro card. It's something, like some people talk about that. Too many pro cards getting passed out now. But again, you have so many divisions. You have also, as you know, you competed both in Open and Masters. Masters really
Yep.
blowing up. If people know that in the next few weeks, I'm going to be going to Pittsburgh. I'm going to check out the North Americans and the Masters World Championships. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity because I'm a poor country boy from North Carolina. That's the farthest I've been up north, ma'am, was Virginia. So but going out to Pittsburgh, it's a big highlight for me. So
Yeah, that North American show is fantastic. I did the North Americans as an amateur, as well, in women's physique that 2019 as well. That was my first international show that I had done, and that was an excellent. I had a great time at that show. Wonderful competition experience at that one for how large it is. And doing the world's masters is on my list to do. I would love to do that show. So maybe we'll plan for that for next year.
all right, yeah, you got actually you were busy this year. You did Toronto and you did Chicago.
Hmm.
You made your pro debut at Toronto in 2022, and then you also did Chicago. What's that experience like that first time being on the pro stage for yourself?
Oh, that was a journey. So, it's kind of like going from being, the big fish in a little pond to a tiny little minnow in the ocean. And I'll be honest, that first time I stepped on a pro stage, on that Toronto pro stage, I was like, oh, I'm not ready. Oh, I honestly, I did not feel like I belonged there yet. I was so excited to do my pro debut. I wanted to go right away. And I was so excited to stand on that stage. And I felt like I was standing on that stage and I was like looking at everyone else and being like, oh, dang it. Oh, my goodness. I am out of my league here, man. But, I mean, that's part of the process is where, you move up into the pro ranks and then you got to start climbing that ladder again, right? You have to earn your place on that pro stage, just like I had to earn my place from a regional level to a national level to then win an overall and then win my pro card. It's that same climb. And it probably wasn't until I would say probably my third or fourth pro show where I could really look at myself and be like, I belong here now, right? It's like that's how long it took. Like the first couple of times I stood on a pro stage was I felt very out of my element. I'm just like, I'm not ready. These athletes are so far beyond me. And that it took some time for me to build that confidence again, but now as a pro athlete, not just as a bodybuilder, but as a professional bodybuilder to stand on now the world stage with some of these just amazing athletes that I've looked up to for years and years. And now I get to stand next to them, which is like, it's still bananas in my brain. Right. But, it was definitely, a very big eye-opening experience in that pro debut. And that took some time to feel like I really truly belong there. And given how I've been able to make really pretty steady progress, like, I mean, I'm not winning pro shows anytime soon, and I'm fully aware of that, but it's that I've made some very steady progress over my time as a professional athlete. And I'm very happy with the rate that I'm going and the progress that I've made and feel like I've really earned my spot on each time I get to stand on stage, regardless of where I place in a given
Yeah,
show.
because this is a process. Like quite a few ladies tell me, so George, this is not like a race; it's a marathon. You don't want to get yourself
Very
burnt
that.
out. You want to, because there can be a lot of things that happen. You try to do things too quick and too fast, not taking the time to
Hmm.
work on this, to work on that, just because you want to be honest. Like, hey, I want to make it Olympia, but not everybody's going to make it Olympia. I mean,
Yeah.
because you right now you have women in WPD that could be doing women's bodybuilding. You have
Yeah.
women in figure who can probably do women's physique, and then you have someone like yourself who has a great physique, who has a great presentation, but your first time you felt like out of a small fish in a big pond, but it's about the process of you developing as an athlete. We got here a comment from my man. Shout out to my man, Black Panther. He says this. He says, Miss Bo, what activities do you do outside of bodybuilding? So What's your activities and what you do for a living?
So for a living, I am a full-time personal trainer, coach, and fitness educator. I work at a commercial gym here in Canada. So I work with wonderful people on the gym floor and teach them how to be fit and healthy and hit their fitness goals all day long. I am also a group fitness instructor, so I teach group classes. I actually taught a spin class early this morning, so yay, I get paid to do my cardio. And I'm a fitness educator, so I teach coaches and trainers how to be coaches and trainers, and that's the thing that I really love to do. I love to teach. And educate people on how the body works and how to move correctly and how to correct injuries and imbalances and fun things like that. So that's what I do for a living full time. And then outside of bodybuilding, I've in the off season when I'm able to. I mean, I love to be able to lift heavy. Like I've dabbled in powerlifting, I've dabbled in Olympic weightlifting. The group fitness classes are quite variety of different types of movements and modalities. So that's kind of the non bodybuilding exercise that I get to do and really enjoy it. We have a wonderful community within our group classes in my city. So that brings me a lot of joy. So I do a lot of that in my off season as well. But and that's kind of what I tend to lean into in terms of sports and fitness in the off season. Is I like to try and lift heavy, be strong, try new skills like Olympic weightlifting or CrossFit, or we've got this High Rocks thing going on now, which I should probably investigate at some point, figure out what's going on with that. But outside the gym, I mean, just like anybody else, I like spend time with my family, friends. I love to go to the movies and be like, eat popcorn when I'm allowed to, all that kind of stuff. And, I love to travel when I get to. So yeah, nothing too fancy, but bodybuilding is definitely the overarching kind of theme of my life, that even in the off season, like you said, bodybuilding is about consistency and dedication. And so it is an all year round focus, even in the off season. But I do like to try and get exposure to other types of sport and lifting and activity that way.
I don't know. I seen that some of those videos, those hard rock things. I couldn't. I got two bad knees like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't know if I can do that hard running. That dude like, but it's become very popular. I think it has that little bit of triathlon, a little bit of CrossFit and decathlon stuff in it. And just people who just want to prove that they have fit in great shape and working out and training. We got a comment here. Shout out to my man, Black Panther. He says this. Um, he says, Miss Bowes, you will be great champion representing the women's physique division in Canada. You are the greatest. Also, he says this. He says to me, he says, George, you are the greatest. Stay strong and blessed. God bless. Thank you, brother. And
Oh,
also,
wonderful.
he also says this says, I have been to Montreal, Quebec, Canada once, maybe years ago, many years ago. Says Montreal, Quebec, Canada is a beautiful country. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I gotta give us a passport first. And also, shout out to my man here, Jeff, coming through. Shout out to Jeff. He says, hey, Miss Bo, I love your smile. Wish you good luck with the future. Thank you. Hey, I tell you,
Well,
Sarah.
thank you guys. Thank you so much.
I
That's
say,
very
I say this,
kind.
yeah, I say this, Gary. When it's like this, I say this about all the time. When I get these guys in here, they act like you ever saw Chappelle's show when Charlie Murphy talked about that night he was hanging out with Eddie and they met Prince, and they ran to this guy named Nikki Free. I was with Prince, and people thought Nikki Free was because he was a very pretty man. You guys saw Nikki Free back in the day. And they thought he was a new girl. He said, "Hey, Charlie got a new girl. He found a motherfucker. You're acting like you're a new girl. You find a motherfucker." So these guys like to, these guys generally a big fan of women, and we do this. But then there's always that flip side to it, like how people act and treat towards you ladies, like especially when you're out and about. And you're not as big as some of the other ladies, nice shape and petite, but still, even just a little bit of muscles. Some girls in bikini get picked at because they have muscle. Like what, especially you
Hmm.
talk about family area. What was that like when you started competing with your family?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, some challenges in the beginning because, like we talked about before, that bodybuilding is quite an extreme sport, and my family, my parents, just like any other loving parents, are just like, "Are you okay? Like you're exercising a lot, and you don't like you're that's a lot of tilapia that you're eating. Like, are you?" And not being able to participate in family dinners and having to say no to things and being like, "Are you sure it's okay?" It's like and then so always kind of concerned just to make sure that that I'm still being healthy and I'm taking care of myself. So it was definitely, I think, in the beginning when they just didn't understand it, but then, and giving me the opportunity to explain, like, this is why I'm doing this. It's temporary, and I'm doing things properly. I'm doing things safely. I've got lots of guidance. I've educated myself to make sure that that I'm taking care of my body and things like that, and not just physically, but like good mental health. Because you see competitors when they're on that kind of home stretch and they're just like full zombie mode and like brain is off and be like, and they're so I can see how it can be concerning for a parent to see their child very like zombie mode. So, but understanding that it was something that I was really passionate about, and it was something that I'm going to continue to do, and that I recovered well after every show. My health has been good. I've had no, health issues, and I think they see now, they're like, they watch every live stream of every show that I've done. They will chime in, and they will comment on all my photos and everything that I post, and brag to their friends. They're like, "Look at my daughter, the athlete. Look at the bodybuilder." And it's wonderful now that I think that they see how passionate I am, and that it's something that I'm wanting to pursue to the highest level, and that it brings me joy even when it's challenging and I'm in full diet brain. So it's been really nice to see that evolution in them along with me, through the years, to be able to embrace the challenges and know that it's there for a purpose, but that it's still safe, and I will be fine in the end, and that I'm choosing to do this myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I think when people look at it, especially from the other side,
Mm,
it's a concern, especially for a parent seeing their child going through like the rigorous of a prep, looking like they're gone, look like they're walking dead. Say, "Baby, are you
yeah.
hungry? You need anything?" And then some parents are very supportive. Then the other side, there's some parents are not. Like your mom might say, "Sweetheart, I don't want you to get so manly looking," and your dad
Hmm.
say, "You know what? You already got a brother. I don't need another boy." It's always those situations. And then because the sports, it can be so, it can be so involved in it, friendships change. Things
Hmm.
like you said earlier, like when holidays come around, you can't eat turkey or chicken or like that, like whatever that's cooked for the holidays, and then you can't go out as much like you used to because you got to get ready, wake up in the morning, do your prep, and you have your
Yeah.
job. It can be a
Hmm.
lot to really consume your
Yeah.
life.
I'd say it definitely does affect my social life, especially when I'm in prep. When I'm not able to go out and socialize, especially during the week. Like, I start work very early in the morning, so like, not aware of, like, my alarm clock goes off at 3:30 in the morning to get up. So I do cardio in the morning, and then I have time to do my cardio, get ready, eat, and be at work for 6 a.m. every day. So I'm in bed by 8 p.m. Right? So, but if I finish work at 6, I have to go straight home and eat last meal of the day, and then in bed we go, right? So it's definitely something that hinders social activities a lot when I'm in prep, which is why when I'm finished prep and I'm able to I've got energy back and things like that, that it's important to me that I get back into reconnecting with the people in my life that are important to me, and make sure that those relationships are still strong and there. And I'm very fortunate to have a wonderful circle of people in my life that are very understanding. And when they don't see me for blocks of time of the year, it's not, they don't take it personally or anything like that. They just know that I'm doing something that's important to me, and that it's like, she'll be back, she'll be fine. It's like, she's carb depleted. She's not fun to be around right now anyway, so it's cool. you know.
Yeah, they'd be hungry, say like say, "Oh, you just stay with her for the next couple of days. She'll be all right." And yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot. The mental aspects of it, because one thing we talk about. Oh, I do a podcast every on Monday. We talk about things from is body dysmorphia, do post show blues, do the stuff that you go through in doing prep or just doing life. I would say if if bodybuilding was more like a professional sport where we can make a living off of it, and we can take care of things, that'd be great. Like it's good that you do have your career in fitness as being a coach and a trainer, because again, this is a expensive sport.
Hmm. It is. It is very much so. I mean, I'm very lucky that I work in an environment that is like it is pretty supportive of my bodybuilding passions and stuff, and they allow me to adjust my work hours when I need to. I'm very thankful for the wonderful clients that I get to work with who are always very understanding about when I'm very tired and very carb depleted at towards the end of prep, and they still show up and they do all of their workouts and things like that. Um, but I mean, it is a challenge, right? That still being able to function and do the rest of life, and that's something that's always been very important to me, is that I maintain my level of commitment to my work and to my relationships, my level of professionalism in my work, because I do always have to remember that like I am choosing to do this, like, right, no one is forcing me to go on this strict diet, right, no one is forcing me to go through a prep. I'm doing it for myself, and so that means it is on me and only me to make sure that I am maintaining, my functionality for the rest of life, because I work in a job where I work with people. They are, they're paying money, for my service and my support and my knowledge and my guidance. So I need to make sure that I'm maintaining my level of professionalism, and the level of service I provide is maintained at the high level that I will do for the rest of the year. So that's always been a big focus of mine, is that not letting bodybuilding get in the way of the rest of my life. And I think that's, as a professional athlete, I think that's one of the elements that makes a professional athlete, is that you're able to do the thing that you want to do at a high level, but you can still continue to do the rest of your life also at the same high level that you would be doing otherwise, right?
Yeah,
Because if it was,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, just about taking everything one day at a time. Shout out to my
Hmm.
man Jeff. He just left this comment. I appreciate you, brother, for the comment. It says, uh, "What is your go-to show?"
I'm assuming you mean bodybuilding show.
Yeah, pretty much that's what it is.
um, I mean, I have loved doing the Toronto show, the Toronto Pro. I've done it 3 times now, and I mean, part of it is because I like competing in my home country, right? I mean, Toronto is also a city that I love. I have family there, so I get to see family when I'm there. It's familiar, so I'm going to look forward to doing that one again next year, at its new venue, which is very exciting. Although I loved the Chicago show, that one was great. But I'm definitely looking forward to trying some different shows. I did the Texas Pro 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago, that was also an excellent experience. Another very big, high caliber show where I was like, I was not ready for that one. um, but getting to experience some different venues, different athletes, some other places around the United States, maybe something overseas one day. But yeah, I mean, so far I'd say Toronto has always been kind of like my go-to, just because it's Canadian, it's my it's my home turf.
And plus, like, so you got family there. You can spend time with them, hang out with them,
Yeah,
and or stay with them for a little bit to save the cost of a motel room. That's expensive of traveling. And
yeah.
as you know, with a new venue, like it sounds like something good because, as you know, you were there this when everything kind of went off the rails. I mean,
There was some challenges. There was some challenges. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. Every year that I've done the Toronto Pro, there has always been some kind of little hiccup. I mean, it is a very well run show for like the size of it. Like, I do have to appreciate that it's a very big show. There's a lot of athletes. It's a long day. Long day for the judges and the volunteers. For us athletes, it's a big to do. I understand. But I think this year there were some extra challenges that maybe weren't accounted for enough, and then some other stuff that perhaps went on behind the scenes that I'm not aware of. But I think, it being the largest pro show there is, because it has the Toronto Pro has every single division represented in open and masters. So it has all age categories for every division. So that is increasing the number of athletes that are going to be there first. And then this year, the addition of the fit model. So that's an extra, yeah, that's an extra chunk of athletes. I mean, I don't know exactly how many there were in the open and the masters, but I mean, that's probably another 40 athletes that they added to the schedule right then and there. So I think it got to a point where you just can't do it all in one day. It was too big, too many athletes. It didn't start on time in the first place. So the prejudging went long. So then the break, obviously the judges need a break between prejudging and finals. So then finals started late. And then there was, I mean, the biggest, the big, I don't want to say upset, but the biggest annoyance of it was that they changed the order of the divisions that went on for finals. Now, I mean, a show can change the order of, like, is it bodybuilding or fitness or figure, whoever goes first, second, third, fourth in the order, they can change that no matter what. But it's that they're changing things at the last minute, and divisions like women's bodybuilding and physique, who are typically are some of the first divisions to go on. Right. So if we're usually one of the first, one or two divisions to go on stage. So that's why, like, us athletes, we get those early call times for hair and makeup, right? We're the first ones to get our hair and makeup done because we're the first ones on stage. So we were up, I mean, me and many of the others, I was up at 2:30 to get my hair and makeup done at 3 and 3:30 a.m. on show day. Prejudging starts late. It was supposed to start at 8, didn't start till 9:15. They go through, we go on stage, we do our prejudging, that's fine. It goes long because there are so many athletes, that's fine. And then finals was supposed to start at 4 p.m. It got pushed to 4:30, then it got pushed to 5:30, then it got pushed to 6:45. And then we're like, okay, well, at least then we'll go on, women's bodybuilding and women's physique. We'll be first on. We'll be done by like maybe 9 or something like that. Then they changed the order. And they moved. I don't remember the exact order because we were all sitting back.
I think figure and I think fitness came on a little bit first, and then the other men's divisions.
Yeah, and then they changed the men's body. They put the open men's bodybuilding like somewhere in the middle. Like they're usually the last, right? You put the big boys last. Like that's the big award. They go at the very end. So they were like third or fourth, I believe, somewhere in the middle there. And then I remember they moved wheelchair up. They moved classic up. And then it was wellness and bikini. And so we're all sitting backstage and waiting and telling, like, we're on next, right? Like, no, we're moving up wheelchair. Oh, no, we're moving up classic or whatever. So most of the women's physique, we were sitting in a little corner all together, kind of like shooting the shit and eating our rice cakes and waiting. And so we were backstage waiting for 7.5 hours. We did not go on stage until 11:15 p.m.
Yeah.
When we should have been on stage at 4.
Because I know I was talking to
that was rough.
I was talking to Shannon last year. Her and her friend Allie were there, and they were telling me it was like they were already feeling like some ladies lost their pump because you had to wait that long, and then it's about midnight till you find some place to eat. I know I saw this video that Sheila Olick posted where she found this place. It was a little Indian place that was open till 2:00. I mean, that is bad management. I would say.
Well, sitting backstage waiting, like, I mean, as athletes, we bring our backstage supplies with us, the things that we need for pump up and the food that we need. It was like, I ran out of food. I had no more food. I'm like, because I was expecting to be backstage for maybe 2 or 3 hours, not 7. I needed food. And I'm like, well, I can't leave Like I can't, because what if they call our division next? I don't want to miss my time. So, and then yeah, like I had plans to go out to dinner to celebrate. I had to cancel reservations twice. That I had a reservation, had to push it, had to cancel it, made a new reservation somewhere else, had to cancel that because I'm like, well, we're not on stage yet. I'm not going to make that. And then I ended up ordering on Uber Eats food to my hotel room. And I was like, well, I'm going to need to eat something once we're done. I'm going to be hungry. I need to eat something. So I ended up ordering food. And like when I ordered, I wanted sushi. So I ordered from a sushi restaurant that I'm like, oh, okay, this place is open till 10:30 because it was also a Sunday. So nothing was open super late on a Sunday. So I ordered it like right as to be like the last order of the day. And then it still ended up sitting at my hotel room door for almost 2 hours. By the time we got off stage and I got back up to my hotel room, it was sitting outside my hotel room for 2 hours. So I was eating like cold sushi. I
Well,
still ate
sushi's
it because
cold.
I was hungry.
Sushi's cold anyway. Yeah, I mean,
I
I
know.
grew up. I grew up a poor country boy, and last thing I ever wanted was cold raw fish. We had our fish fried. We got here some
Yeah.
comments here. Yeah, just shout out to my man, your boy. He asked the question. Says, "I got a question." Okay, what is the question? He says, "How many calories do you eat?"
How many calories do I eat? I mean, that's a loaded question, my friend. And so it depends, right? Depends on what part of prep I'm in. I would say in my off season, so when I'm in a growth phase, when I'm trying to put on muscle, it can range, but I mean, I've pushed as much as 28 to 3,000 calories in my off season. But in prep, you slowly strip that back, and we got quite low this year. We got quite low. So I've been under 1,500 calories. I've been under 1,200 calories. Not for long, for short periods of time to really kind of push things that last little bit. But when I go from 3,000 calories to 1,200 calories, like that's quite an extreme. But you do what you need to do for those short periods of time to get the results you want. But yeah, so it ranges, but those are kind of the two extremes that I hover about. My maintenance. So kind of I'm on my reverse diet right now, so we're going to start to push things up a little bit, but kind of maintenance would say be around maybe anywhere between 1,800 to 2,200, give or take a little bit. Seeing how my body feels this year, but yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and that's just the calories is an important part of developing. I mean, some people count their macros, and then I know a
Yeah.
friend of mine. He tells me he just if once you get a 10 ounce of steak, that's it. You don't need to do any more. Shout out to my man here, Brown Barley, coming through. He says, uh, just joining in. Good afternoon, brother. He says, well, Dan, what type of BS they had going on? Well, I think with this year
Yeah.
you added the fit model division. And then
Yeah.
the new point systems now where you have to, and I think Toronto is a first tier show. So if you do
Yeah.
that show, you get a straight shot to Olympia. That's for men's
Yes.
classic, men's physique, wellness, and bikini. And everybody else, you just do a show, you get Olympic qualification. But you have to do multiple shows after that for those reasons because they're trying to cut down the numbers because the Olympia wanted to have a shorter running time.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of same idea. They don't want to have, having 50 athletes, in a division is a lot, right? And then that draws out, the schedule for the Olympia as well. And it's making sure that, you're wanting to have the best representation that you can on that Olympia stage because it's the best of the best should be the top tier athletes that are around, for any given year. But yeah, I think it's just I don't want to say limit the number of athletes, but being able to at least have some kind of control over the number that qualify from year to year. But
Yeah. Well, it's the thing is like it's about what really represents each division and what they want to bring to the show and the opportunity
mhm,
because Olympia is next to the Arnold is one of the biggest shows, but as y'all notice that again, the Arnold does not have all the divisions. So, folks, while we
yeah,
got Sarah here, we're going to jump into social media for a little bit. If you want to follow, check out the links. There are in this live stream in the description. If you want to check out, you want to support her. If someone interested reach out to her because you know what? Again, this is business sport. Sponsorship support can really help. But guys, and I gotta put this to one to you guys out there. And I know, as I said, this one of my crimes, Mrs. Bo. I am a muscle person. All y'all ladies are sighting me with your muscles and all that. But guys, be respectful. No weird shit. No D pics. No nothing. Stop it. Get some help. So we're gonna jump into her social media for a little bit. You want to follow her links in the description of this live. And here she is. And just you know, it's just been barely a couple weeks since the Chicago Pro. And he said, you know, you like the
Hmm.
show, it's pretty show, you look really good. And then also getting the top five at you know, Toronto. Where's that feeling when you saw that, hey, you know what? I'm just behind someone like Sarah Bradley.
Like that was crazy, and honestly, like at the time, I had no idea. I it was. I tend to find that when I go on stage, I very much kind of block out everything else around me. So, I go on stage, I stand where they tell me to stand, and if I get moved around, I don't necessarily kind of register like where I'm at any given point. It wasn't until I came off stage that my coach told me, she's like, you got fifth. It's where they put you. It's like you had them there. They compared you here. They moved you here and that kind of stuff. So it's usually not until after I get off stage that I realized where I was placed and where I was put and what that meant. So it's like I very much kind of almost have a tunnel vision when I go on stage. It's like go on stage, do the best presentation I can, remember all the things you need to for your posing, looking at the judges and living in the moment and soaking in that wonderful energy on stage is more my focus at that given time. And then I figure out the placing and stuff afterwards, it seems.
It looked like you had a fun time in Chicago, you know, touring the
Oh, it was
city.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a
And
wonderful time.
and for you, yeah, you mentioned your coach. Who's your coach? How long you been working with her?
So right now I work with Jody Bohm, another wonderful Canadian top tier athlete. She's a five-time Olympian herself. If you don't know Jody Bohm, do you even know bodybuilding?
Well,
So she,
I
I started
yeah.
working with her just this year. This is our first year working together, and it's been absolutely wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
She's an amazing coach, so knowledgeable, very supportive, which was definitely what I was looking for in a coach this year, to be able to support not only my physical goals in terms of building my physique and the bodybuilding things, but to help support me as an athlete and a person, to feel build my confidence on that pro stage. And she was definitely able to help me do that. So yeah, she was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Well, I heard Miss Bone. I mean, she also is one of the coaches of Melody Horton. She worked with Melody in the past. She
Yeah.
worked quite a few, several. I mean, some time ago, she had an injury where she had to step back from fitness, and she did both fitness, physique, and
And
figure during her
figure.
time. Yeah,
Yep.
and so recently she just had another child. Congratulations, another boy. I hope she's
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
well. You know, any plans for her? You think she's gonna make return maybe next year? Because I know the little boy's already about a year old now. I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do know that she is not done competing. She is not done yet. Like whether it'll be right away next year for 2027, or maybe 2028, that you'd have to ask her. I can't I can't comment on that. But I do know that she is definitely not done competing, and she's still very very much eager to get back on stage and show us how we do it in Canada.
Yeah. All right. So, if you know, what do you feel like is your best physical presentation?
Sorry, say again. What was that?
What do you feel like is your best physical presentation overall? What body part you feel like is the one that really grows out of all of your other body parts?
Oh, I would say so. I always really, I always found that my side chest pose is one of my strongest pose. I really like how my shoulders have come up. I think I've got a good balance in my shoulders to my arms. I also know that I've worked very hard to bring up my glutes and hamstrings this year, and something that I'm very proud of, that work that I've put in. But actually one thing that I get commented on a lot, and I really wish I could take credit for the work that was put in, is my calves. Everyone comments on my calves all the time, and I wish I could take credit for them, but I do very little work on my calves, to be honest. But I actually had so Danny Ray, the official photographer for the Chicago Pro Show, he shot me a DM just after the Chicago Pro, and saying that he thought I had the best calves of all of the women's physique competitors. So I was just like, there you go, that's my win. So I win calves at the Chicago Pro. So I think it's been able to have a really good balance. So I'd probably say my shoulders and my calves are probably my two um, strongest attributes at the moment.
And which one feel is the body part you need to work on the most?
I would probably say my back, to be honest, my back, thickness in my back. It's something that I've struggled with a lot. Um, I grew up with a lot of challenges in my posture and my spinal alignment over the years, and it had affected my ability to engage certain muscles in my back and to connect with some of the musculature in my mid back and things like that. So it had hindered the development of the a lot of density that I need to have in my back. But something that I've worked very hard on. I've got a really good team with of chiropractor and physiotherapists and things like that to help correct my posture and alignment. That's allowed me to be able to connect better with the musculature of my back and posterior chain. So it's come up quite a bit, but we still got a little ways to go. So I'd say my back is probably the thing I need to work on the most.
It's good to also work on your strength as much as your weaknesses. And
Hmm.
often I've heard the back can make or break how you place these shows. Like especially
Yeah.
where divisions are like I think where there's more focus on the backs, like women's bodybuilding, figure, women's physique. I mean, bikini and wellness, they don't have to do much back. But I've seen some girls in wellness who got backs maybe bigger than some women in bodybuilding and even physique. And who's these
Hmm.
lovely people here?
That's my family. That's my whole family, and pets included. Yeah. So that my
Uh,
parents and my brother, my nieces, my cousins. Yeah, that was Christmas this year. That's my lovely family.
yeah, your niece look like your niece right here looks just about like you.
Yeah. 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 We actually do look quite similar.
Yeah, you if you ever walk
Yeah.
around where you say that might be that's your daughter. No, that's my niece. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just turned 16 last week. She just turned 16. Those are
16.
my boys. Those are
Oh,
my
yeah.
kitties.
Oh, that's cute. Tell your
Yeah.
brother. Remember, she's 16, but you gotta beat it down. You gotta beat it down. You gotta beat it down. So
Yeah.
she won't get too grown. But yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what? It's good that they support you. They support your goals. And understand that you have a focus and a thing. Like when you're training, what's the favorite thing you like to do? And that thing you say, shit, I don't want to do it today.
Oh man. Oh man. I mean, my current thing, I'm really excited to get back to doing more barbell work, because usually in the last little bit of prep I stay away from the barbell just because risk of injury goes up when you're so depleted. So I'm excited to get back to like barbell squatting, deadlifting, like you saw in those videos there. Those are skills that I've worked very hard to being able to execute well, to build my strength and things like that. Keeping me strong in the off season to help maintain things as I go through prep. Um, but I don't know. Like I've always enjoyed doing the big compound movements more. Um, I'd say like doing arm training. I just find it boring. Like just sitting there doing curls. I do them because I need to, but it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I'd rather do a heavy shoulder press or a heavy row than a gun run is not my favorite thing to do,
Well,
to be honest.
we do the arm press. We want to see those biceps. We want to see that. You want to see that baseball. It's. I know some ladies say that it's boring. Hey guys, you got flex, so be happy. So it's not as exciting compared to the other divisions. Like some ladies they love doing. Some are. I have some freaks to say they love leg day. Yeah, you're a sick freak if you say that. And typically, yeah, everybody loves the back and the shoulders. I think is again, it's a part of the process as you grow and develop as an athlete.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it definitely, there's those ebbs and flows. Like for, it might be a couple of months where I'm just like, I love leg day. I'm excited to squat and I'm excited to do heavy leg press. And then I'm just like, oh, he's like, now I'm excited for like chest day. I'm like, I got really good at benching. I'm like, I've got a really strong bench press. So I'm like, okay, I'm excited to work on my bench. I want to build up the chest and like, and heavy shoulder press. I'm like, okay, I've been able to really build strength in my shoulders and I can press some heavier dumbbells. So, it ebbs and flows, over the season where some days some weeks I'll favor more of the legs and are more excited about, and some it'll be more some of the upper body stuff. But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, like you still do all of it because it still needs to get done anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, we have a comment from my man Brown Baldy. He just left this one. He says, he got shot to me. He says, "Thank you, George, for saying that. Too many dudes out there make it weird for the rest of us who are respectful." Yeah, and then you have the
Hmm.
guys who like I always see guys saying like I post stuff like just being a content maker, especially on you ladies. I post stuff in my social media platforms, be it YouTube, be it IG, be it Facebook. I don't do TikTok that much. But I had guys who are very complimentary, but then I have the other guys who can be just, excuse my language, ma'am, straight up assholes. What are they talking about? She's on steroids. She's a man. Yeah, 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 yeah. Again, just a lovely lady. I don't see nothing manly about her. I'm a man. I got boobs. So, where do you see the man for? Here's why I say it like this: being a man is not physical. It's a mental state of mind. How you act, how you move, how you perform.
Yeah.
One thing I said is this: men and women, we're the same race, but we're different species. Women, you have your ways, men, we have our ways. But I think it always goes back to the use of performance enhancers. You know, someone say like it might make your blood a little bit like a man, but you're still by DNA standards, you're still a woman.
Yeah, very much. I mean, I think, for the how much time I've been doing this sport, I think I've been very lucky where I haven't experienced a lot of I mean, of this kind of that negative feedback from either men or women. I don't get a lot of DMs or things from people with giving negative comments, so I'm very grateful that I don't really get a lot of that negative attention. And if there is, I don't see it. I mean, but it's where I think it's obviously. I mean, you look at my physique, you hear me speak, it's pretty clear. Um, but I've had a few instances like in real life of people commenting to me, not necessarily I think with intention of being mean or rude, but just maybe not understanding or not realizing like what I've done, like why I'm doing the things that I do. A big thing is like in my community, like bodybuilding is not a huge sport. In my gym where I work and where I train 99% of the time, I'm the only bodybuilder. I'm definitely the only professional athlete of any sport of any caliber. So there just isn't anybody who looks like me in my community. There isn't anybody who trains like me in my community. So I look very different than the other 99% of the female population who trains in my gym or in my community, which is fine, and which is also why I tend to train in hoodies all the time. That's kind of my go-to. I wear the big baggy pump covers and sweaters all the time. um, but every now and again I do get the stares from time to time. I have had to stop changing in the change room in my gym because I will get stared at and commented on. Um, but it's just like if I don't want to be exposed to that kind of negative attention, I just remove myself from it. Right? It's like I will shower at home, I change at home, I just don't do it there, and then I just remove myself from the situation. So I've always kind of thought it was like what other people think of me, it's none of my business, right? You don't
Well,
like the way I look? Don't look at me, right? You don't like what I've done to my body? Cool. It's not your body, it's my body. I did it to myself, right? I do it because I love it. It's like I like having muscle. I like the way that I look. So it's really nobody's other business but my own.
yeah.
So
That's the thing is, what everybody has opinions, like an asshole. Everybody has one. And if you don't
yeah.
like something, it's easy not to say anything. Mind your business. Go do what you got to do. And no one's talking
Yeah.
about you. So why you need to talk
Yeah.
about them? I mean, that's the problem. Is
Yeah.
people just need to inject themselves in somebody's personal life. So
Yeah.
now for you, what's the thing you feel like that really you feel like can really make you or can help you get to that next level? As you know, you taking this year. This is your you only did two shows. Now you're taking a break and you're focusing on next year. So what's the things that you
Yeah.
really feel like they can help you in your process?
I think that my because I've been training for a long, like I know how to train. Like I know how to train hard. I know how to lift heavy. I know how to follow a diet, that kind of stuff. I think it's the mental game. I think at this point, it's like it's the mental game. Being able to work on my confidence in my ability to execute things correctly, and to the best of my ability. Um, and that concerned with focusing on progress for myself. It's not about going with the intention to win. It's not an outcome based goal. It's a progress based goal. So that and I think having Jody as my coach this year and going forward is going to be that kind of next level catalyst to help elevate my mental game going forward. Because there was definitely those were some of the hurdles that we kind of came across this year. Because like I said, like I know how to train, like I know how to eat copious amounts of tilapia and asparagus for weeks on end, right? Like that's not the challenge. But being able to embrace different approaches to things, right? I've been doing this for a hot minute, and like every year it's had to be something a little bit different, trying different approaches and different protocols of things, because like I'm not 25 years old anymore. I'm not 30 years old anymore. Like my body has changed. Things are different as I age, right? And as I have more muscle or less muscle, or my metabolism is different, right? So having to be adaptable, both mentally and physically, to be able to listen to my body and its cues better, being able to learn about what those cues mean. Um, is I think kind of the next kind of level to be as precise as possible and to execute things on a more precise level than just lift heavy and eat more or less and do cardio. You know what I mean? um but that was one of my biggest takeaways from this season of working with Jody, was that it was learning more about listening to my body and what do those cues mean. What does it mean when I eat this? What does it mean when I eat this? What does it mean when I train this way? What does it mean when I train this way? How do I respond to this type of cardio versus this type of cardio, or this supplement versus that supplement, and things like that. So it was a really, really good learning process, and learning how to fine tune those details to carry on into the next season, right? And having that kind of all play into the mental aspect of it.
Yeah, because you know what? If your mind's not willing, your body's not going to follow.
Hmm.
One lady who won Chicago Pro, that is Brooke Walker, she had to take a step back because he had like a situation of mental health issue. Rachel Daniels is going to be tomorrow. She also went through
Yeah.
something like that. I've stories of how being prepped can really affect your mind. It can because you're depleting your body of certain nutrients and stuff like that because you're trying to bring it, and then you're dehydrated and you're tired and I mean, and then show day, hey, you get all primped and primed. You have to get your makeup on, your hair done, you get your tan on. You look very, very beautiful. But then again, it's to get to that point is where it can be stressful. Like I said, like this, most people don't understand what y'all go through. And we see these amazing bodies, these beautiful physiques on stage, but don't understand what it took you to get to that stage. And
Yeah.
again, one thing I always point about is the cost of being a competitor. While the guys put up here banana hammocks and boy shorts, you ladies have to be prim and proper looking. You have to walk that fine line of femininity and muscularity.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely um definitely something that takes time to develop, that proper balance of things. And you're right. Like, I mean, there's so much more behind the scenes that I think people realize. And I love it when I'm going through prep and my clients ask me about, like, what did you eat today? And it's like, what did you do today? And it's like, why do you have to get up so early? And like, why do you have to go to bed so early? And I love being able to explain the nuances of it. And it's when I'm in those last little phases of prep, and I go to, I have a client, say, who's like, they're doing a plank or they're doing something on the floor, and I go and sit down on the floor next to them, and I'm all uncomfortable and things like that, and they're like, what's wrong? And I'm just like, I got no padding on my butt anymore. It hurts to sit on the floor because I got no padding left. Or like when even in the last, few weeks where like so we have a uniform that we wear in our commercial gym, but it's like I've got I've got a thermal long underwear on. I've got a long sleeve shirt and a t-shirt and my uniform, and I've got tights on, and I've got a pair of sweatpants on, and I've got a sweater because I'm cold in the gym. I call it my homeless era, where like I'm just wearing like 5 layers of clothing because I'm cold because I got no body fat. So that's so those little things that kind of go on behind the scenes that you don't think of leading up to that moment of full glam of the big makeup and the tan and the hair that's out to here and all the wonderful elements of that, which is oh so fun. I mean, except the tan, I could do without that. That part I'm not
Yeah,
a fan of.
yeah. The stories of it, how that stuff is cold. Where you get stuff spraying, you nearly pretty much your butt naked, and you're
Oh
spraying
yeah.
with some cold spray, and you got to move around. And say, and I
Yeah.
wish I could get some of my body fat and help you warm up a little bit, but I gotta. That's the hard part. I can't do that. If I could, I would. I mean, yeah, I could usually lose a few pounds. At one point, I was at 500 pounds nearly, but then I made some changes in my life because my conversation with your ladies and what information I learned and how smart eating, proper things. I'm not gonna be perfect at it because I'm gonna have my faults. But and this is why I do this content to give y'all ladies the voice to share, let people know that it's not all about what kind of pills you pop, what kind of weight you lift. There's more to it. Like for you, what's the highlight of your day when you, especially during the week? There's something that you really enjoy to do when you get a chance to do it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm a morning person. It's like I love being up early and getting out in the fresh air. So for the portion of the year where I can, when it's not too cold up here in Canada, is getting up and going for that lovely walk in the morning. And fresh air. I mean, it's usually dark because I'm up so early, but I feel like I'm starting my day with purpose. I'm starting my day before everyone else is because it's dark and there's no one else on the road. But I'm starting my day moving, and I feel like my body feels best when I do that. If there's a day that I don't get up and do that, I just feel like I start sluggish. So that always seems to be kind of the best part of the day when I get to start with some kind of activity that I feel I'm doing something good for my body. I'm doing something good for my mind because I'm in fresh air. I usually listen to some kind of podcast or an audio book or something while I'm out walking in the morning, but it's a time to kind of reflect on myself, think about what am I going to accomplish for the day, and kind of set myself up for success. So that's kind of my favorite part of the day.
Mhm. I remember those days. Well, I used to have to go to work early in the morning. Got to get
Hmm.
up about 5. Had to hit the job by 7. Whew.
Yeah.
Also, I used to have another job. It's a side job. I used to work at a gentleman's club. So I get in early in the mid to after evening time, and get out to maybe it's almost nearly morning time, and and you talk about getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. While you up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm going.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sawing trees, but yeah, it's about understanding what are your goals are and what you want to do to make those goals come true. If there's so many hours in a day, if you can use that hours, like okay, I just need maybe a good 8 hours of sleep. Then I get up, do my workouts, go train my clients, eat this, that, sleep, eat. Just because, and also you can find that little thing in between your time to just enjoy life. You got your little kitty cats, you got your family, your
Yeah.
friends. You know, it's good to have those healthy outlets outside of bodybuilding.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And when I, was finishing up my season for this year, it's like one of the other things that I'm really looking forward to is spending time. My family has a cottage up at a lake that's about an hour's drive outside of our city, and being able to go up there, and it's quiet and it's peaceful, where I can lay on the deck and I can do nothing. It's quiet. I can spend time with my family. My mom will cook for me, and she makes everything is delicious. It's wonderful, but fresh air, quiet, away from the city. Like that's my happy place in the summertime. So, I was up there last weekend, and I will be up there again this weekend for our long weekend. So being able to take that downtime, I work at a commercial gym, so like It's loud, it's high energy, it's, it's fluorescent lighting. I'm with people all day long, and I love my people, but I'm like, I'm on all day long, right? So getting a chance to kind of step back and do something a little bit more chill, a little bit more relaxing allows me to switch off and get that mental and physical reset on the weekend so that I can, come back ready to tackle the next week and, chip off those goals one more day at a time. But so that's being able to have that balance, now in the off season and when I prep, I don't have that luxury to be able to do that. But now being able to have that little mental and physical reset on the weekends really does help. Really does help.
So rest, recovery, reboot. That's what it sounds like when you take that.
Yeah.
You get a couple of shows. I'm gonna rest and recover. I'm down reboot, and you start back. What's the plan for next year?
Yeah. So I mean, no formal plans yet. Because right now it's just, I mean, I'm only 2 weeks post show, and it's just like, let's get back to normal before we start making any plans again. But definitely, planning to pick a couple of shows for next season. Because I did not compete in 2025. So I competed in 2024, did not compete in 2025. I took the year off to, allow myself to have a little more recovery, to be able to put some more tissue on my frame. I know that I need to get bigger. I need to put a little bit more size on. So that was the goal for 2025, which we did. Did that very, very well. And then we'll kind of reassess once I've kind of gone into full reverse, and I've kind of gotten back to maintenance, see how the body is feeling, address. I mean, I've been lucky to not have any injuries this season, which has been wonderful. Addressing what specific things that my physique needs to work on. I got some good feedback from both of the shows, so knowing some of the things that I need to work on, and then plugging away at that for a few months, seeing what kind of progress we can make, and then deciding if we want to do another full year of growth, or if we make a decent enough progress and I'm happy and ready, body is feeling ready to compete for 2027, then we'll kind of look at a timeline and pick a few shows to try for next year. But I always kind of base my decision each year to compete or not on how does my body feel, right? Do I have any injuries? Do I feel like I'm physically strong enough to go into a prep? And then, like, where's my mind at? Like, do I feel excited to start prep, or do I feel like, oh, here we go? Oh my gosh, right? If I'm feeling ready, I'm like, okay, like, because after taking 2025 off, I was ready to get back. I'm just like, I'm itching. I'm ready. Come on, bring me that Stairmaster. Bring me all that asparagus. We're ready to go. Yeah. So that's how I knew I was ready to go into prep again. So that's where, you kind of get to that point where you kind of need to make the decision if you're going to start prep or not, kind of in the new year. See where my body is at physically, see where my mental status is at. I'm like, am I ready to go, or do I need a minute? But yeah, so I kind of just take it year by year, but always having kind of plans in the back about, okay, like, I probably want to do Toronto again, especially because it's at a new venue. That's exciting. And then maybe picking a different show in the States. Like, maybe I want to, like, go bold and I want to go to Texas again. Maybe I want to, do something like, maybe I'll do Tampa, or like go down south somewhere. I haven't done anything down there yet. There's lots of good shows, look at the opportunities down there. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of
Yeah.
choices.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Texas is a good one. Atlanta's around next week. Tampa. There's
Yep.
also the Atlantic Coast. A couple
Yeah.
other shows. There was Tupelo, but that's off the list. I think that the promoters does not carry that show anymore. Or you
Yeah.
can always go west. There's this year the Steve Carr show at a Wins Physique, and also there's the Arizona Pro, which is part of the Rising Phoenix weekend. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
Rising Phoenix is one I would very much be interested in. And I do like to look at the Masters shows because I do compete as a Masters. So the World's Masters in Pittsburgh is definitely one that I would like to put on the lists. In the next year or two, or whenever we get there. Sometimes I go by like the dates, because those shows that are later in the year, like end of August, September, means you're prepping through the whole summer. Whereas the benefit of doing, I did Toronto and Chicago, right? Now, like that's half the summer is gone, and I still have now half the summer where I can enjoy myself and do the social things, right? So I do also consider that as well for that balance, right? Because I've done before where I've prepped for an entire year because I did a show early in the season and I did a show very late in the season, which means no summer. Like so, pros and cons to so those are things I do consider when I choose shows as well is how much of my summer do I want to give up? How much of my year do I want to give up? Because also like my birthday is in September. I'm like, do I want to be prepping around my birthday? I mean,
Yeah.
my mom will still make me a birthday cake anyway, and I'll eat it later.
Oh,
But think
God bless. God bless our mothers. Mine's been gone for a
oh
good
yeah.
while, yo. Especially if she's cooking for you. Say, here, baby, here you go. Do have any of your friends and family members gone to competitions?
Yes, yes. So my parents don't travel for my competitions, but they, like I said, they'll watch every live stream, and support me from home. When I'm in Toronto, my family who is there, I have an aunt and a cousin, so they've come to see me there. I have had friends from Winnipeg who will travel to the shows to come and watch. I had two friends come and watch me in Toronto this year, which was wonderful because I didn't know they were going to be there. I came out from backstage into the lobby, into the expo, and they were just there. And it was a very much like, oh my God, you're here. Come and hug. And they brought me cake and they brought me Reese's peanut butter cups. And it was just like, oh my God. And then in Chicago, I had a good friend come and watch the show, and then we did our holiday afterwards and showed me around Chicago. So he flew out to Chicago to come and support me there, which was wonderful because I didn't know like my coach wasn't there in person in Chicago. So I was there by myself. I mean, you meet the other athletes and stuff like that, but I didn't have anybody that I was necessarily there with. So having a friend there for after the show was really nice, and then having a wonderful time in Chicago to sightsee and share pizza with.
Yeah, that's good to have camaraderie, family, friends to come out, because you this is at this point, even though it can be stressful, and it's good to have a familiar face there that's cheering you, supporting you, like
Very
your
much.
your aunt and your cousins there say, yeah, that's our cousin, yay, that's my niece, yay. But then some guys also says, yeah, that's your niece. Can I be your nephew? Nah, you sick freak, shut up. Yeah, she's a cute little pipe little thing. And that's important for anybody, because I've had conversations where family and friends you were just turn your back on someone who started sport because it's so extreme. They're always going to be accusation of it because of use of performance enhancers. But again, it's almost in everything, in every sport. Because one thing you sent me information that you studied biochemistry and microbiology.
Hmm.
That's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I come from a science background in my education. My whole family, both my parents are doctors, so I come from a science and healthcare background. And I think those are, it's knowledge that's really helped me even in the sport of bodybuilding because it allows me to have that background knowledge of like anatomy, physiology, like metabolism, like the chemistry of how these foods work in the body, how my body operates, with like even something simple like electrolyte balance, like how much water I'm drinking and that kind of thing. So it's given me a lot of good extra knowledge when applying these different protocols through a prep to be able to understand things better, which then allows me to be able to analyze what I'm feeling better and give better feedback to my coach so we can make better decisions going forward, right? So I eat something particular, I can understand like this is what a carbohydrate does, like this is what a fat does, this is what a protein does, right? I understand what it does in my body and why I'm eating it, and then what I feel when I eat this in this way, or this is like how I feel when I eat this type of carb versus this type of carb. And I can make that analysis and give better feedback to my coach so we can make better decisions going forward, whether we're going to keep doing this or we need to change and do this and that kind of stuff. So I think that's been helpful along this road.
And so you get you're a certified trainer. Have you ever thought about training bodybuilders, or you just prefer working with lifestyle people?
I don't think I could train bodybuilders. I mean, I have coached people for shows before at a very amateur level, and while I enjoy it because I love bodybuilding, I really enjoy working with more kind of the general population, and being able to take somebody from zero to anything else, right? Like taking people who have no knowledge of movement or fitness or health and being like, what's a lat? What's a quad? And like teaching people how to use their bodies when they've had no, physical activity experience, never played a sport, never done nothing their whole life. And really educating people on being like, this is your beautiful body. These are all the wonderful things that it has the capability to do. And you have been taking it for granted for the first 40, 50, 60 years of your life, right? So let's teach you how to move your shoulders properly. Let's teach you how to retract your scapula. Let's teach you how to breathe properly, brace your core properly. And then all of a sudden, oh, your back doesn't hurt anymore. Life changing for people, right?
Hmm.
People are like, oh, I didn't know how to squeeze my glutes. Oh, now my knees don't hurt when I go up the stairs. Oh, life changing. Like, I love that stuff, right? Teaching people just how to live their best lives. And it doesn't necessarily, and like to be the best version of themselves. And that doesn't necessarily mean stepping on stage or building the most amount of muscle or lifting all the weight in the world. It's just getting people to do life better and be able to understand their bodies better and how things move better. I love it. It's great. So that's what I love to do when I as a coach.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's good that you are helping people and helping them find to make a better person out of themselves, or just
Yeah.
teach them something that they really helps in their own life. Like for you, being in this sport for a long time as you have, is there anybody you really pay attention to? Anybody you admire their work ethic, their overall physique, just someone you really see like, wow, this is somebody like really represents what's bodybuilding about.
Yeah, I mean, there's been many over the years, and I mean, especially in women's physique, it's because that our division has evolved so much, since it came on the scene all those years ago. I mean, I have to give the shout out to the OG DLB, Dana Lynn Bailey,
Yeah.
right? Like I have met her twice at the Olympia, and it was like this is goals. Like even though like her physique is nowhere near what the standard of women's physique as a bodybuilding competitive athlete is nowadays, it's so different. It's just like it was her work ethic and her drive was always something that I admired and tried to emulate, and to be able to maintain that level all year round, which is something that she does. Like I mean, she's not competitive anymore by any means, but she's still trains hard, still does the thing because she loves doing it, which is amazing. And the other athlete that I really admire, and follow a lot is Missy Trescott. So another Canadian. So I mean, she was Miss Fitness Olympia, and now is figure. And that's been super fun to watch her transition from one division to another, because that's what I did. I went from figure to physique. And seeing evolution in training protocols, evolution in diet and nutrition, and she's just another good wholehearted Canadian girl, right after my own heart. And I love watching her content. I love watching her training videos. Gives me a lot of inspiration, and it's like I want her shoulders so badly. She's got amazing shoulders. But those are probably the two that stand out so much to me in terms of like they're all the way up there. That inspire me as I go through and watch their content a lot when I'm in prep and stuff like that. I mean, and there's so many other wonderful athletes and women that I've met along the road, getting to stand next to Brooke Walker on stage. Like what is my life even about? Right? Like I followed her for years, and getting to meet her backstage and then getting to stand next to her on the same stage and watch her pose is just amazing, right? So um and it's just been there's so many other athletes that I've met over the years that I can't name them all, but those are probably some of, like, at least in terms of physiques that I really like, and would want to emulate in myself, and training, ethic, work ethic, content that they put out into the world is just wonderful. And I really aligns with how, with some of my values and how I like to live my life. So those are probably the standout ones for me.
Yeah. Well, I've been following body for a long time. I remember the era I grew up with the tail end of Arnold's career, Lee Haney. And then, as I said again, y'all women, y'all kind of excite me a bit. Watching people like Cole Everson and Linda Murray, Iris Kyle. Um, and when I went to Tampa last year, I got to meet one of the ladies that you competed against. That is Paula Ranta, and
Oh yes, Paula.
yeah, and
Hmm.
she's a impressive young lady doing women's bodybuilding. I feel like she needs me to grow a little bit. I got to meet one lady. She gave me a shout out a while back, Ashley Jones. And Ashley, she's great, really cool. Number two in the world behind Andrea Shaw. One lady who's also in your division, Sharonica Hinton. I mean, she's competing this weekend, and it was a great opportunity to meet her.
Hmm.
One of the biggest highlight was my friend Eunice, who also competes in bodybuilding. We got to meet this gentleman here, Mr. David Lee Roth. I would never met that man in my life, like stayed here in North Carolina. It was a highlight. I mean, to meet him, a legend. He's a big fan of bodybuilding. And then even meeting another legend when I was there, I got to meet Kevin Levrone. And I remember him. He back in the day when he was competing against guys like Lee and Ronnie and also so many other competitors. And also there's me
Mm.
with Bob Chicarello on the other side of him, and there's right beside Tim Gardner, and you had Isabel Terrell on the other side. I remember I first saw her when she competed, and last competed back in 2022 at the Savannah Pro. And I was trying not to stare at because Isabel's very well endowed. You don't want to be like staring at the sun. So but one person for me doing this content I've become a big fan of, and she's really changed around the sport, really, especially for her division women's bodybuilding, and that is the lovely Miss Andrea Shaw.
Oh yeah.
I just love her. I'm a fan of hers. And I got a story I got to
Hmm.
tell real quick. And I know I got some haters that hate when I tell you a story because this is as my other guy would say that, like, Sarah, you ready to get something? Never do it for free. And I often get a payment. And I always want to shout out to my friend Eunice. Eunice is a great lady. She runs her and her partner Jolene run the company Bad Rap. And Bad Rap, the moniker is Rip and Define, big and defined, ripped and pumped. I always want to get a shout out. I hope I get the chance to see her again because it's a great opportunity to go all the way to Tampa and hang with her and help her out and help out Jolene. This was like a couple of years. It was a few years ago, and it was right after my birthday. And my birthday's November, and when it was, and I get a call from you and said, "Hey, something's in the mail." I say, "What is it?" And then next thing you know, a few days later, I get this.
Ooh.
And it's an issue of muscle development. And, they don't do. And this is from your country, Canada. I used to you love working with this. But what makes it special for me is when the champ tells me she thanks me for my support.
Oh, wonderful. That's
I
great.
I know I need
That's
to keep it in the
special.
case. I know I need to keep it. I love it hugging that college church. So but
Yeah.
when
Oh,
I
I
think
wish I had a copy of it up here. I have been in that magazine before. That's super fun.
yeah, I got a bunch of muscle mags and stuff like that. I used to collect them as a kid, like my comic books,
Yeah.
and not too many around anymore. Like muscle development used to be about this thick, like about this a Bible. Now it's about this,
Yeah.
Flex, Iron Man, because more people are online. You can like right now we're talking with you. You're already in Canada. I'm here in North Carolina, and this is a way to talk, conversate.
Yeah, yeah. The printed magazines are just they're. I mean, they're just not a thing anymore. But I mean, I that was definitely a place where I started as well. Muscle development. We've got a couple of different ones in Canada. They're just. I mean, they're just not a thing anymore. Like Muscle Insider when it used to be a real magazine. Like I definitely was one that was on regular. I would read those ones every month and be able to kind of see kind of the evolution of the sport when I was just starting and seeing kind of where things are going. But now, I mean, now everything's online, so it just makes it a bit more accessible to more people, which is wonderful. That there's more outreach for our sport to reach more people. We can educate people more about why the sport is so amazing and to highlight more athletes so everyone gets a little bit more exposure and gives everyone a chance to kind of shine and tell their stories and stuff like this and these wonderful podcasts like yours, right? Being able to highlight athletes and get more people interested in the sport as a whole, I think is a wonderful thing. So this is wonderful, the platform that you've got here.
Yeah, I got shot to my brother. I call him my brother because even though I call him my brother, I love him. He's my brother, That's my man David from the Female Bodybuilding Forum. But I often have an issue with him. He had his hands around my girl. I love David. He's my brother. But you can't, he did it again a while back. He was at the Arnold Classic. He was hanging out, and said, "Hey George, I'm hugging your girl." What? You mean, I mean, I try to be cool. I try to be cool, but sometimes, I got another man. My homeboy Keith. He's doing all right. I hope he's doing all right. He sent a picture one time. He said because his wife Tina was working with her coach. John Simmons, and he said, "Hey George, I see you something." Wait, Sydney. He says, "What? What like he feel like you're a big man. I will fight you." But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna throw my life away. I love Andre, but I'm not gonna throw my life away. I'm gonna fight the big man. But it's just the amazing people doing this interviews like women like yourself and other competitors. What inspires you, what drives you to do a sport like bodybuilding, the extreme of the sport, how it affects both your mind and your body, and still to have a passion for it. Again, it's not a sport where you really can make a living off of. Most of the time
Hmm.
you're just trying to keep yourself out of the red every other day when you have to compete and prep. You have the cost of travel, the cost of coaches, the cost of this and everything else. But from ladies told me, said George, I don't do this because I make money off. I do it because I love it. And in some cases, it was a sport that maybe saved someone's life. I know ladies who deal through something like mental abuse, physical abuse, eating disorders, and they found this, because like yourself, going to the gym and say, "Hey, you look pretty good. You think you want to do bodybuilding?" And that's a really great story. I've seen ladies who were like at my point, at obesity, and then they got into bodybuilding and changed their lives and maybe making healthy choices. And this is a sport about passion and drive.
Yeah, and I think everyone comes at this sport from a different place, a different background, and everyone has is going to have their different drivers for why we choose to put ourselves through what we do in a prep, let alone being able to do it all year round, off season through prep. But like for me, it was the thrill of the challenge, right? As lame as that kind of sounds, like I didn't come at it from a place of overcoming anything or out of a dark place or anything along those lines. It was purely a challenge that was just so different. I spent a good part of the first part of my life just purely focused on like my studies and academia and doing that being the main focus, and that was a big challenge. And this was kind of along the same lines, but just in a very different format. And it was the challenge of, it's like, what am I really capable of? Right. And it's like being able to have the ability to manipulate different variables, at different times to be able to yield different results. Was that I just find it very, very intriguing, being able to change different training protocols or different nutrition protocols, supplement protocols, things like that, and seeing how it changes my body, how it changes my energy levels, how it changes my recovery rates, things like that. And the and I think that kind of bleeds into the kind of the overarching theme of the things that bodybuilding will teach you. You, you just can't learn other places. Like bodybuilding will teach you a level of discipline, a level of organization, of planning, of structure that I think it's difficult to find those lessons in other places. And I think the structure and the discipline and the routine of bodybuilding, the need for consistency, has also bled into the other areas of my life and has allowed me um, to have success like in my professional life. Like when I go through a prep and being like, I'm gonna get up and do cardio at 3 o'clock in the morning, no matter what, it needs to get done. Even if I don't want to do it, like I don't want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do cardio, but it needs to be done because I want the result of it. And it bleeds over into my professional life where it's like, I don't want to do that paperwork, or I don't want to be on the gym floor for 12 hours in a row, but I do it because I love the result of seeing my clients have success. It's allowing me to build my business. It's allowing me to be a model employee, a model trainer for for my other coworkers and the other trainers that are looking up to me for inspiration and guidance, like as a teacher, as an educator, right? So it's being able to emulate, to be a role model for other trainers and other coaches. So it's where, again, it's a process goal, not an outcome goal, where I'm focused on the process of being organized, disciplined, consistent for bodybuilding, but being organized, consistent, and disciplined in my work has allowed me to have have great success in my professional life as well. So I think, the skills and the lessons that you learn from bodybuilding, um, transfers well into other areas of your life, whether it's your professional life or it's helping you to better learn time management skills so that you can have more time for social activities, better time management skills so that you can be able to spend more time with your family, learning how to eat more intuitively and track macros or things so that you can be able to go out and eat your favorite meals without blowing your diet for the week, or as examples, right? Being able to learn those different skills to be able to apply to all other areas of your life. And I think that's also something very unique about the sport of bodybuilding, is that it teaches you skills that you just can't learn in other contexts.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's about longevity, it's about persistence, it's about conditioning, it's about discipline. It's so much involved in it, and I think that's where people need to understand that it's just not as simple as popping a magic pill, lifting some weights. People tell me,
Yeah.
hey, if you take what I take, you're not going to look like me because if you don't follow those guidelines. We have a
Yeah.
comment from a man here, Charles Alford, coming through. He says, give me a second here. Stop here. Give me a second. Pop it up. He says, well, hello, Miss Pretty Lady. Yeah. I say,
Hello.
yeah, she is a pretty lady. You know, that's the thing is that everybody finds a little something out of the sport that really kind of inspires them and gets them, excited about it. And also have to take the good with the bad with it or anything. For one thing, I often ask you ladies, like I know after that long, day at camp, you got the soggy sushi. Did you ever get a chance to get some real food afterwards?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, after Toronto, not so much. I mean, I had a nice dinner with my family. But knowing that I had Chicago coming up, I had to temper myself a little bit. So, I had one or two meals, but then it was right back to it. But then after Chicago, like I knew that my season was done, and I was going to be in Chicago, and there was definitely some things that I wanted to hit. So I enjoyed myself. Let's say that. I enjoyed myself. I had those few treats that I was really looking forward to, but you know what? Again, everything in moderation, right? It's still making sure that I'm not going overboard, because I've done that in years past. You're like, oh, show's done, right? Just go and eat all the things, and then you're just like, oh, why did I do that? And then it just never ends well, right? So like I have learned that lesson. I have learned that lesson and do not wish to repeat it. So it's been this year has been much better. I've had much better control post show, and I'm also very thankful. Jody has been very supportive. Checking in on me. It's like, how you doing? I saw your Instagram. Are we okay? How's your tummy? Right? So it's being realistic and knowing that it's like we need to have that little bit of a mental release after a show, but just like everything else in moderation, right? Like I didn't go to Chicago and eat pizza 5 times a day for 4 days. Like that didn't happen once, right? Like I got my taste, and then that was back to my regular diet for the rest of the time, and being able to and staying active. Like I still worked out, still lifted, found some fun gyms in the city, and then to go to, and then just walking around everywhere to see everything. So I think it's being able, that's another skill. Like that's another kind of lesson that I think you learn over time, is how to manage the post show, right? You have your few treats, you have your few things, knowing what your body can and can't handle post show, but then being able to like put the brakes on and know what the limit is,
Yeah.
so that you don't cause too much damage.
Yeah, eat in moderation. Be smart. I know Chicago is the home of the this pizza. New York don't like it. Say it's basically it's a casserole. It's not like real pizza. It's a casserole. I mean, what's
It's
the
a
thing with John?
pie. It's a
Yeah,
pie.
it's a pie. It's like come on, you just mind alone. I watched the thing with John Stewart talking about these. I wouldn't mind. Maybe think about going to Chicago, but after they dropped women's bodybuilding open, I got a thing where I will support shows that will support women's bodybuilding. That's why I want to go to check out the Masters World Championships and the North Americans. I got a neat see this in Atlanta. I can if I go to Atlanta maybe next year, I'm waiting to see where they're going to have the Masters Olympia at. I feel like they're going to have it in the
Mm,
States because after what happened in Japan, and that was a good
yeah,
idea. And there's more master shows here than is overseas. I think there's only maybe three master
yeah.
shows overseas, and there's like most of them are here, like Tim Gardner his shows, and also a couple others, and Gary Unit does masters. I mean, there's
Hmm.
it's more opportunities here than going off to it's expensive to go to Japan. I remember I had a panel with some of the ladies that did the show, like Tracy Guile, Donna Jones, Trish Wood, Mr. Robin Hayes, and Cheryl Mears. They were there telling me about the experience. They enjoyed this. They enjoyed it, but it was expensive. And there was a lady who, if you heard a while back, she committed suicide. She said it was because of the expense of that show, but I think with some other stuff she was dealing with. The thing is
Mm,
that I think it's important to take care of mental health, especially when you do this sport, and understanding that you're not gonna come here and be the next big star. You're gonna have to, pay your dues. Understand what is the risk worth the reward. If you feel like you don't want to do this anymore, you can walk away. And I know ladies who walked away but came back because that drive, being athletic, the drive they want to, see if they can get a shot at the Olympia or get their pro card. It's a passion if you look at it.
very, yeah, very much. And I think, when someone is getting into bodybuilding, whether, you're shooting for that pro card or you're trying it for the first time at an amateur level show, it's like, I think having a very clear understanding of why you want to do this in the first place. And it is, I think it's absolutely fine, when you're starting out to be like, I just want to see what it's about. Like, I want to see if I can do it. Right. Cause I mean, that's where I started, right? I knew nothing about it. I was just like, this isn't interesting. This is new. Let's have a go. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see what I can achieve. Right. Like, and then I was like, okay, I like this. And then I'm like, I want to achieve more and then more and more and more. I mean, and so forth. But I think, knowing like why, because knowing what you're getting into is part of the first bit. And that's why good to have forums like this to be able to educate people on like this is what's involved, right? So that you can understand that like when things get hard and when things get challenging, that this is what having that really clear set goal in your brain about why you're doing this in the first place is going to help you to be able to overcome, the challenges of when the diet gets hard, when the body is tired, when it's sore, and you have to have that mental fortitude to push you forward, right? Because I mean, anybody can lift weights, anybody can walk on a treadmill or climb the stairmaster. I mean, and anybody can eat tilapia and asparagus or chicken and rice for meal after meal after meal. But having the mental fortitude to be able to stay consistent with all of that needs to be in place first, and knowing your why is I think one of the first kind of bits that I think is important that some people maybe don't consider right away. But I mean, it's that's part of the skill set. It takes time to kind of figure that out. I definitely didn't know it right at the beginning for myself, um, and I think finding that why is one of the keys to success to kind of get you started and to keep you going. And then say you achieve that pro status, you get the card or the overall titles or things like that, and it's being able to conduct yourself as a professional athlete all the time, not just when you're on stage, not just when you're in prep, but it's being able to kind of embody that professional attitude, that professional approach to things all the time, right, is what I think makes a complete athlete. So where it's in your bodybuilding career, your professional career, your personal life, what other aspects of your life that you may have, I think it's important to kind of maintain that it's like, I'm a professional, I want to do things to a high standard. Maintaining your level of personal integrity through the different aspects of your life, I think, is very important, and those are the things that really, I think, set you apart from the professional athletes who do well and who are going to have longevity in the sports, to those who kind of maybe just dabble and do one or two, and then we kind of maybe don't see them ever again.
Yeah, because we talked about this before, how some will get the pro cards and then boom, it just, whatever reason they decide not to compete. Some people, after a while, it gets, the struggle of trying to get to the pro status is one thing. It's just, Again, it's about the dedication and the discipline when you get involved in the sport. And if you're not as uh, dedicated, discipline, it's not for you. Now, one thing I ask, like, are you a sponsored athlete, or you feel like everything's on your shoulders?
So I have one wonderful sponsor. So there's a supplement company up here in Canada called Believe Supplements, that I have been working with now for maybe almost 4 years now. And they have been a wonderful supporter of me since I started working with them. Great products. I will always back them 100%. Use all of them myself through all of my preps. And they've been a wonderful supporter up here in Canada. I'm a very big proponent of supporting Canadian companies and things like that. But outside of them, it's just me. It's
Yeah.
just me on my own.
Well, I wish I could do this because I know, it's a lot to be a competitive sport. Sometimes, you have to sometimes, as a friend told me, you have to sometimes steal from Peter to pay Paul. But if I could do this, if I had the means, the way to do it, where if I had a company where I said, you know what, I'll approach you like this. Miss Bo, we've been following you for quite some time. You're a very proud young lady. You have very uh, amazing background, and your bodybuilding has gone far. We might be interested in maybe sponsoring your upcoming season. So you feel like a product works in your process. It's something you think you can use as you're developing in your bodybuilding process. We'd like you to be part of our brand as an ambassador. Whatever you need from us, whatever you need from you, let us know, and we can share a great future in bodybuilding. So let us know, ma'am. We'd like to see stars like you rise a little farther. I wish I could do that, but I'm broke as a joke. It's about the end of the month, and I think I spent my last $10. So, so we're not gonna hold much
Yeah.
too longer. Yeah, we're not gonna hold much too longer. I'm asking this last question: what would you want for yourself out of bodybuilding as a whole?
Oh, I mean, I think the number one thing right now, I think, is longevity in the sport, being able to continue to do it for as long as I want to be able to do it. Um, and being able to feel a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction and joy out of every prep that I get to do. Um, for myself, that's I think that would be like kind of the selfish things that I'd want to get out of bodybuilding, is to be able to feel that sense of accomplishment and growth and progress, out of every time I go through a prep, every season, that I can see that I'm getting better, I'm improving in some aspect, right? Whether it's building bigger shoulders, or I was able to get leaner, or my posing got better, or whatever it happens to be, that there's some kind of measurable progress season to season, year to year, and I've enjoyed the process going forward. Um, the other thing, which I think I maybe took for granted in the beginning, but definitely am seeing a lot more of now, is that my process of going through bodybuilding preps, or being able to conduct myself as a professional athlete in my community, because I know that there's not that many in my community. I'm one of very few. I'm also like one of even fewer females in my community. Is that I bring a sense of inspiration for others, that not even necessarily for bodybuilding, but that, as silly as it sounds, is that hard work and dedication really does pay off, right? So that, someone doesn't necessarily need to go to the extreme that I do to step on stage, but that someone feels inspired and driven and motivated to be like, hey, if she can do this for, 16, 20 weeks to accomplish that, it's like, I can go for a 10-minute walk every day, right? It's like I can come to the gym and I can do my yoga class 3 times a week, right? Or it's like I can make an effort to prep my breakfast every morning so I have a healthy breakfast, right? So it's that, I look up to athletes, like Missy Trescott and DLB, and they inspire me to be like, hey, if I do this, it's like I can accomplish this. It's like I can be my version of a bodybuilding champion because they inspire me. so that people can watch what I do and the things that I do, and they can find their own version of being a champion in their lives, right? They may not be trying to be a bodybuilder or a professional athlete in any kind of sport, but if it means that they're going to go get that 10-minute walk in every single day and that's their success, then they're their own champion, right? If they were able to prep their own meals and stick to a good eating plan for more than a week in a row, then there you go. We celebrate that win and that champion because, like, hey, Sarah can do this. I can do this, no problem. Right. And
Mhm.
I've started to see little bits of that with the clients that I get to work with and other people in my gym and in my community. And it's like, hey, you did this. It's like, okay, I can do this. Right. It's like, I can handle this small change in my life. And that brings me a lot of joy and satisfaction that me doing a really hard thing is helping other people do equally hard things for their success, right? So that's a big thing that I've really enjoyed getting out of bodybuilding and hope to continue on to inspire people to kind of find their own wins and their own version of being a champion in their kind of everyday life and being healthy and that kind of thing.
Well, you keep doing what you're doing. Keep on your stick to your goals. Like I said, this sport is about longevity. It's about time. It's about finding your process, which helps you in your goals.
Yeah.
Like the great Ray Coleman says, everybody wants to be a bodybuilder. No one that's a heavy ass weight. So,
Yeah.
so before we let you go, you have anybody you want to shout out to?
Oh my goodness. I mean, there are so many. I mean, I will definitely give a big shout out to Belief Supplements up here in Canada for being a wonderful company and support system. They've been a wonderful support over the years, so I want to thank you for them so much. My coach Jody for helping me through this season, teaching me so much. Definitely, I mean, reach out to her if you're looking for an amazing, wonderful coach. She has been wonderful to work with. I will also want to give shout outs to my previous coaches. I've had two other coaches in my bodybuilding career who, I mean, I wouldn't be where I am now without them, right? So I definitely give so much love and admiration for them for helping me start the sport, continue in the sport, grow in the sport, and bring me to where I am now. Um, and my family, they're always so supportive and wonderful. And my mom will cook me tilapia and plain asparagus for family dinners. And she knows now. I'm just like, no butter. Thank you, mom. So lovely, lovely. And then cooking and then baking me all the cookies I want when I'm done.
Oh,
Because
you're so
mom's
sweet.
cookies are always the best. I don't care what anybody else says. My mom makes the best cookies. So fight me,
My,
you
my
know?
mom my mom didn't make cookies. She made cakes, like especially the holidays. Like one year, because my mom couldn't do much anymore because she had seizures. I cooked two cakes for Christmas. My first and last time cooked cakes, and she was there instructing me. The cakes came out. They wasn't pretty, but she tasted. Said, "Son, they're
Yeah.
not pretty, but it tastes good." And that
Yeah.
made that just that was I was so proud of my cakes, even though they were like filmed over. But it's
Hmm.
thank your mom. She's a good lady. She's a good woman. It's good that she supports her child and her goals. So, folks,
Yeah.
we want to say thank you, Sarah, for this time, the opportunity to share her story. If you're someone interested in supporting her, or even work out with, like you said, you do online coaching, or you do some mostly in your gym.
It's mostly in person, but I do a little bit of online as well. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so, so anybody interested? Because you know what, gives more clients. It helps her pay for bodybuilding. She even probably could go to
Hmm.
Atlanta. Maybe I could go meet in Atlanta, or she might go if depending where they have. If they're maybe I'm thinking about maybe Texas maybe one year. Yeah, I'm thinking about that maybe. But whatever, I would like to get an opportunity to meet her and talk to she when I get talked to. I enjoy this opportunity when I talk to you ladies. And also shout out to people like myself, and the female bodybuilding channel. My man David, my man. I'm surprised he's not here. My man KL the Wanderer, Claudio at Hardcore Female Bodybuilding Media. We want to give y'all ladies the opportunity, a platform to share your stories. Everybody's paying attention to divisions like wellness and bikini and fit model. Hot point. The men's division is always going to be, as I say, the pimping game's the bottom bitch. It gets a lot of attention, it gets the money. But y'all women, y'all put in the time, you put in the work, and you deserve just as much attention and opportunities like any other athlete in a sport.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the invitation to be here to chat about the sport that I love, to share a little bit about myself. It's a wonderful platform that you've got to be able to highlight, us female athletes. And I think it's just a wonderful way to help us grow in the sport and to build more awareness. and to share, but for us to be able to share our passion about this sport and hopefully have it grow and just bring more people in and hopefully bring more exposure to us. So it's wonderful. So thank you for what you do. It's greatly appreciated. And thank you for all the support and the lovely comments from everyone following along. It's very lovely. Yeah. And if anyone has questions, things like that, wants to reach out, we got socials and stuff are all linked there. Feel free to reach out. And I do my best to get back to as many of the messages as I can. But I love to be able to answer questions and share my love of this sport with people.
And like guys, as you said, the links are in the description of this live. You want to reach out and genuine interest, support, please do, but don't be that weird guy. I want to give a shout out to my guests out here. Shout out to Yay Boy. Shout out to Brown Baldy. Shout out to Charles, Black Panther, Rick. We have just some comments from my man Black Panther. He says these. He says this. He says, I love Montreal, Quebec. I think they should a bodybuilding and fitness show in
Ah,
Montreal, Quebec. Yeah, that's a good idea, Canada.
that would be
Also,
nice.
he says, I love Montreal, Quebec. I think that they should, he's just saying the same thing as ever again. He just made it a little longer. But shout out to my man
Yeah.
Baldy. I mean, I appreciate you guys coming here and sticking in and listening and watching. The ones who are watching this on live on my YouTube channel, I'd like to thank y'all for your support. We say congratulations to Sarah, got in the top 5 at the Montreal. I mean, could have been fourth, but they still gave it to
Well,
Sarah.
we'll keep working at it. We'll keep working at it. I don't know if you can see. I got it right there, right
Yeah,
there. That's me.
yeah.
There you go.
One more thing from shout out to my man Dave. Jeff comes who says, "Come to North Carolina." Oh well, if there was some shows in North Carolina, she would come, but maybe just come to visit or whatever. It'd be just to visit. Jeff just wants to get a girlfriend. Come on, man. He says, he says, join on Muscle Sunday so I can a beautiful face. Well,
Grammar.
grammar. Yeah, he needs to work on his grammar too. He's from. He's a nice kid. He's a nice kid. So, folks, we'd like to thank Sarah Bull for her time. Appreciate it. Best of luck to her. Oh no, he has to say something.
Oh,
Sarah,
what's he got to say?
I want to tell you something, Sarah, before you leave. And I usually say, hey, ladies, come on here. You are beautiful. I'm sorry about him. I'm trying to keep him under control, but he completes me. But congratulations, man. Best of luck to you, to your upcoming season. Best of
Thank
luck to your
you.
career, everything else. Again, I say this: you never have to. This is why I do. This is my platform. I appreciate the opportunity to have you on. Thank you. You never have to say it because quote from my man, The Dark Knight. You never have to because it's just something I do, and I really get pleasure from the opportunity to have yourself on here. But best of luck next year. Hope we see you. Maybe get a chance to get to Olympia, if not Masters.
Oh, that's a wonderful goal. We'll be hopefully we'll get there one day, but we'll keep working at it. Keep
Yeah.
steadily climbing the ladder.
One day at a time. So, folks, I'd like to thank my guests here. I'd like to thank the lovely IFB Physique Pro, Sarah Bowe, for sharing opportunities to share her story and herself. Best of luck to her. Also, folks, the Tampa Bay is coming up. I'm going to watch it live. I'm going to do a little something on it, and check it out. With special competitors, some of the ladies who've been guests on my channels, I hope they get the opportunity to get their little qualification or even get in the top 3. This should be on our way to page, aka the Emperor of Female Body Talk. Don't subscribe. I'm out. Good night. Good luck. God bless, and see y'all next time.
Thank you so much.